Hey guys! I had a request to just share some quick tips for all of you first-time snowboarders out there. The first time I ever went snowboarding, it was actually a total disaster and I didn't think I was ever even going to do it again. This was like 6 or 7 years ago. So I have been snowboarding 6 or 7 years now, but that does not make me a professional in any way. I just want to share some very quick tips for you guys so that you guys don't show up to the mountain and be completely lost or clueless. Yeah, so the first time I ever went snowboarding, Jeremy thought that I would be good at it, I guess, and I was horrible. Like, I could not even get up. Like, it was really bad. I finally mastered how to get up, so he was like, okay, let's just go up to the top of the mountain. And I was like, okay, I guess, if you think I could do that. So he took me all the way up to the mountain, and I fell so hard, like literally face plant. Like, first of all, the main thing you need to know when you first go to the mountain is how to stop on the snowboard, okay? So if you don't know how to stop, do not ever think to go up to the top of the mountain because you're putting other people at risk too, you know? Not just yourself falling off the mountain, but you can take someone else with you. So anyway, I go up there, I totally didn't know how to stop, so my board whips around and my toes dig in and I just, bam! Snow was everywhere, like everywhere. So I was so pissed off, I just unstrapped my board and walked down the whole mountain. I'm not even lying. I don't want that to happen to any of you guys, so I just want to just get into this video and just share some very quick tips. It's not going to be full details. This is really geared towards beginners. All right, so first things first, what should you wear to the mountain? When I first went, I wasn't sure like what to wear. I didn't know if I was going to be too cold or if I was going to be too hot. So I usually snowboard here in New Jersey or in New York, and the temperatures here are usually around 20s or 30s, which is pretty cold if you're just walking around. But let me tell you, if you're on a mountain and snowboarding, especially for the first time, it gets really hot. Like, you're gonna be sweating. So I didn't know what to wear the first time, so I definitely overdressed, and it was just horrible. You don't wanna wear too much because you can't really move around that well. You just feel like way down. And you get really hot and you don't want to be all sticky and stuff. It just like makes you uncomfortable. So if you're going to be going on a mountain where the temperatures are between the 20s and 30s, I would just recommend wearing a pair of leggings underneath your waterproof pants, whatever you have. I'm wearing these gray ones. Well, these are the ones I wore last week actually to go snowboarding. These are just gray leggings, and on the inside they're lined with fleece, so they are pretty warm. And on your feet, just wear a thick pair of socks because your feet do end up getting cold. You're just stuck in the boot and you can't really move your feet around at all. Like, you don't want them to because you want them to be tight around your leg so you have better grip and stance on your board. What I do recommend with socks though is that obviously they be thick, and also make sure you get high socks because you don't want to wear low top socks because you really don't want your sock to be sliding underneath your foot and you know, you can't get your hand into your boot to fix it. So just get high socks and you'll be a lot more comfortable. On top, I just wear like a sports bra and then a long sleeve Under Armour type shirt. You want one that's obviously geared towards gold. You obviously want one that's geared towards cold weather, that's gonna keep you warm and dry. And really, you don't want to wear anything else. You could just wear your waterproof jacket, and it's also like a windbreaker, so you'll be fine. If you are planning on snowboarding up north more, like Vermont or Maine or in Canada even, it gets really cold there. It's like, it feels like the negatives there. So when I had gone to Vermont the one year, I was not prepared because I thought it was gonna be like it was in New York, you know? So I used to have gloves that were just regular gloves, like 5-finger gloves. And now I actually have these, oh no, that's totally the wrong one. Now, yeah, so this is like what I had. I had like the 5-finger gloves, and the thing that kind of sucks about these is that your fingers aren't actually touching or together, so you can't like conduct any heat with your fingers, like to keep your hands warm. So your fingers are just like frozen. And up north, really, you can get frostbite, I swear. I was so cold. So when we went, I actually had a pair of these gloves, and we went down the mountain once, and I was like, we need to go find a store and buy new gloves because I can't feel my fingers. They are totally frozen. So we went and I ended up getting just a pair of mitten type of gloves. And on the inside, there's nothing really special. It's kind of just like a fleece, but it really does make such a big difference when your fingers are actually touching and together. It keeps them a lot warmer. So I am happy I bought those. All right, so if you're going to be buying your own snow pants and a jacket, What you need to know is just the thickness of it, or the waterproof level of the pants and the jacket. So they say that around 10,000 millimeters is like the best if you're going to be sitting on the snow for quite a while, and if it is your first time, you probably are going to be falling a lot. You don't want something that's too thin and then not waterproof enough, and then you're just going to be all wet. But yeah, just so you know when you're buying something, so that you don't waste your money and get something that's totally not going to work for you. So yeah, I got these pants because they're a cool print and I'm obsessed with them. These that I'm showing you now are actually 5,000 and I don't get wet with them at all, and I am constantly sitting to strap myself in, so it's just as good. Like, don't worry about it. Okay, so you're ready to go to the mountain. And I'm just gonna assume that you're renting your gear because it's your first time. But even if you are buying, these are some good tips for you too. So once you get there, they're gonna ask you for your height. And that's very important because they need to know what size board to get you. And ideally, it should be between your shoulders and your eye level. So anything between that will be a good board for you. You can also rent helmets there too. You're gonna be falling and you can seriously hurt your head. So I have bought my own helmet since then, and I don't care what I look like in it. It is going to save my life if anything were to happen, you know what I mean? Better to be safe. When you're renting, you're not only renting your board and a helmet, you're also gonna be renting boots. So they're gonna need to know your shoe size. And when you try on your boots, just make sure that they really fit you snug on your ankles, because you do not want to be moving your ankles around in there. It's gonna be a lot harder for you to move your board around if your ankles are wiggling around inside. All right, so now with your board, what you need to know is what stance you are. There are two different stances. One is regular, the other is goofy. Regular just means your left foot is forward, and goofy means your right foot is forward. So in order to find out which one of your feet should be forward on the board, just have one of your friends push you from behind without you knowing like when they're gonna do it, and just see which leg shoots out first. This doesn't always work, so you can also try pretending, or actually do it, play tug of war and just see which position you actually feel better in, and whichever leg is forward, that's the one that should be forward on your board also. If that one doesn't really work for some people either, you can also try sliding across some ice. I mean, obviously that sounds dangerous, but if you've ever just skidded across the ice, whatever foot is forward in that time that you do that, that's what should be forward on your board as well. But again, even with these tips, that still might not work for you. You might get up on the mountain and think that you're regular and you just keep falling and it's not working for you and you're not comfortable enough. And then when you switch to goofy, you're like, oh my God, I totally get it now. Now that you know your stance, just know how to position your feet on the board. The board comes with all of these screws and you can literally move around the foot position on the board itself in any direction that you want. Just stand with your feet like hip width or a little bit more than hip width apart and put your face forward. Face it down the mountain, but as if you're on the board, and just see how your feet are positioned, because that would be the most comfortable position to actually have on the board. So if you see that the rental board that they gave you has weird position of the feet, you can actually go back to the renter's office area and they have people there that will position in the direction or place that you want it to be. If you're comfortable enough, you can also wear a book bag and just throw some water bottles and some bars in there because you can get kind of hungry when you're up there all day. But if not, that's okay, because all the mountains have places for you to get water and eat. Okay guys, make sure to check back for part 2 where I'll be taking you to the mountain. I'll see you then. Bye!